Mohan, man, where are you?
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you. You are on mute. I can read your lips though.
Yes, yes. I am very much in Delhi.
Oh, where? Where are you working?
Yeah, I'm with Ray. You must be knowing. You have been here with Nivish.
Oh my God, you're still with an IC. Very
Yes.
good. You are holding the fort.
Yeah, sort of. Nivish, long time we have not met.
Long
Without,
time, long time.
yeah, without your identity missing without your chashma.
Mohan, are you in Delhi, right?
Yes, that's right.
Same place, same office.
Yeah, Ratan, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Long time, yeah.
No.
I don't think
I
that
see.
we've met ever since the Delhi days, right?
Yes, yes.
I see Gokul now. We have debated a lot, but I never saw you face to face.
Gokul, you're mute. Oh.
Hi Ratan. Hi. Hi
Hi.
Mohan.
Hi, Google. Hi.
Yeah. Hi
I
Pradyot.
Hi, Deepak.
Hello.
Bye.
Yeah.
Who is Rajdeep Das? Anybody knows him?
Yeah.
Rajdeep Das,
Interesting.
start your video.
Hi, Pradyot. How are you doing?
Is that Rajdeep?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
I can hear you, but I would love to see you.
Really? You'll regret.
I regret you, yeah, but let's see. Let's revive the regret.
Okay.
Your video is still not on. So Nimish, up to you. Whenever you want, we can get started.
Yeah, we give another 2 minutes and then we can get started.
Sure, perfectly fine.
And nothing formal. I mean, you can do a self-introduction and just start.
How about I share my screen? I start sharing my screen and then
Yeah, sure. I was actually looking forward to a good debate, but Ganesh will not be able to join. He is away for 2 weeks.
oh my God, why Ganesh?
Ganesh Gaikwad, who
Okay.
was debating you on the WhatsApp group.
Oh, I must have done something wrong. I don't want to debate.
No, I'm sure there should be a healthy debate. But yeah, maybe that's another day, and maybe other people will join in.
Hope I think that healthy debate will go on the discussion forum. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So Pradeep, all yours. Let's start.
All right, guys. I'm sharing my screen. Let me expand this in the presentation mode. And let's get a few things out of the way. You're able to see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks everybody for inviting me. This is quite an opportune time for us to understand the gravity of climate change. So that is the topic. Few things. A few events highlights today discussion objective. One is, which I'm sharing here, is UN report on climate crisis. There is also a negotiation, a dirty negotiation going on for US budget, federal budget for infrastructure improvement, and Tesla impact report. And all of these things have gone to become a major news in last few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks we are talking about. When I share the report after this meeting, you will see a lot of references, a lot of those things which you can learn. But I will go more in detail when we actually discuss things. So let me get to the crux of stuff. Okay, so I want to start with a reminder. Climate change is the biggest threat modern humans have ever faced. This stark warning is coming from most recent UN report. If we continue on our current path, we will face the collapse of everything that gives us our security, food protection, access to fresh water, habitable ambient temperature, and ocean food chain. And I'm not saying that. This was Sir Attenborough who gave the speech. I think this was last January to the same UN Committee for Climate Crisis. So reason for climate change is, we may all know, but it's worth repeating, greenhouse gases, major part of which is human activities in last 50 years. And again, these are not my words. I'm paraphrasing what is in the report. There are, so as you see the presentation, when I share this, you will have a lot of articles. And if you want to understand nuts and bolts of how the carbon dioxide or any of those harmful gases are actually creating climate crisis, you can read. But this time won't, this presentation won't allow me to go too much into detail. So this crisis is going to unravel many disasters at unprecedented scale. Food crisis, civil unrest, and rise in authoritarianism. And so if anybody believed that what is happening in Iraq and Syria is isolated and this is Islamic fundamental, you got to go deeper and really learn about it. The root cause of this is that people have been replaced from their habitat. They have lost their crops, and their cattle and livestock cannot be maintained. And you know, when that kind of crisis happens, religion fundamentals take place. I mean, we are all susceptible, gullible to religious nonsense. So that is going to unravel everywhere. And if you see what is happening in US politics, that is one symptom of that. Loss of glacier, rise of sea level, that will drown some of the best cities across. I mean, New York City is the picture I'm talking about here, okay? And I have been to many places. I have seen glaciers. I have talked to people, how fast this thing is happening. I have also personally witnessed eroding marine life in Great Barrier Reef in Australia to all the way to Mediterranean Sea, very specific to Greek islands, where there is hardly any fish left. And this is not necessarily overfishing, but acidification of ocean. Again, you have references. One reference which I will talk about, which I mentioned about the Syria and Iraq and how fundamentalism is taking place across the world. This documentary is a series of 12 or so that is called The Year of Living Dangerously. So again, when you see the link, you can browse through and learn more about it. So this is the topic. Okay, I'm going to demystify mission and vision to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. If you didn't know, this is actually the stated corporate vision of Tesla, to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. I will be focusing on, so the agenda of this presentation is about the future of energy and transportation in context of sustainability. I will be focusing on some big, bold, progressive ideas. Now, progressive ideas, as I think about it, it should consider the good life humans have. I'm not suggesting that we all have to cut down, and there is a science out there which can convince you that we can live the way we are living. We have to really use different resources. We don't have to burn down Mother Earth. When I talk about a big and bold idea, I'm talking about businesses coming up with a different model, government having the policy and some motivators for us to move forward. By the way, I'm not against individual actions. We learning to live in a nice way and not harm the environment. But this topic is not about that. Okay, so when I'm saying I'm for big bold idea, don't consider me that I will be opposing your view if you want to cut down on your miles traveled or not use of plastic. I do most of those things, but here we are going to focus on big bold ideas. I will bring inspiration from Tesla. Okay, whatever I am going to talk about the transportation and energy, it gets completely muddled and confused when we talk about Tesla. Tesla being one of the most hated company for no reason, for all wrong reasons. So I will be busting some of the myths. I will be covering how we got here. Okay, what is the current state and where we are going very quickly through philosophy and through some data as well. Then I will dive down inside the transportation and electric vehicle. Then I will be talking about energy sector and the renewable strategy. How will that happen? It will not happen automatically if we start having solar roof and wind panel. There has to be underlying architecture which has to be reinvented. Definitely, as I said, I will take you through Tesla product supply chain and a lot of stuff which is very hard otherwise to understand. So who am I? I admire great geniuses. I fall in new, novel, and disruptive ideas. I test a lot of products myself. That said, I'm reasonably skeptic to any mediocre things. It is not very easy for me to become loyal to anything. As a professional, I'm very much like you. I'm a design strategist, design thinker. From the ideology perspective, I'm a progressive. I think we don't have to cut down. We don't have to go back. Idea has to move our humanity, our civilization forward. I'm humanist and I'm very optimistic about the future as well. I'm an avid investor. I take as much as I work for money, I also play with my money. And my focus is purely on technology and this EV, which has become a new class of technology. I have been blamed for being Tesla fanboy, not just on this forum. I think nobody blamed me on this forum, but generally people know that I'm a big bull on Tesla. And I mean, saying fanboy is a pejorative way of saying that I take things, whatever Tesla says, but that is not true. I'm an owner of Tesla. I have been investing in Tesla since many, many years now. So I know everything. Every day, whatever news break where Tesla is in trouble, I know that. Okay, how we got here and framing sustainability, I want to say a few words. This is basically lesson on philosophy, majorly derived from my learning about the history, but these two books which I have on the side, Sapiens and Homo Deus, these two had major influence on me. If you guys have not read, this is Yuval Noah Harari. This may change your point of view. Amazingly book, and this is not what I'm saying. The whole economic forum in Davos, Bill Gates, Obama have said the same thing, that this one changed their point of view. So framing sustainability, as you are looking at the picture, I want to point out, we started from a very, very mediocre beginning. Okay, we were primitive and had no chance of our survival, but we survived and we will live a very good life. I mean, we have established a good life at lot of expense. Each of these stages had its own challenges, but we overcome. Okay, and we continued on the growth path. So this progressiveness which we are talking about, I mean, challenges had been many, many challenges. This climate crisis is one, but there were a lot of challenges in past where it gave us existential threat, but we overcome those. Now, this progressiveness which we have, it's unstoppable. And I think we should balance that progressiveness with sustainability. And that will be my agenda or point of view as I'm talking about. So there are again references which I will point out without going too deep inside. Science of Sustainability, very good article from Nature. And they are talking about, they are considering UN Sustainable Development, something which is an indicator to have 13 measure, every country, every society should be measured on that. Against, there are some measures on sustainability also. And existing finding from the UN is not very great. No country is able to do that. Vietnam does very well, and some of the Scandinavian countries do very well, but the majority of developing or developed countries are the big culprit on that one. There are a few things to gently provoke you. I will definitely be talking about Elon Musk and his ideas. And I think there was a huge crisis 500-600 years ago. Okay, we were in the dark ages. Okay, after the intellectual renaissance, which happened in axial ages, and by the way, axial age is 800 to 300 years BC, where Socrates was roaming around the earth, Buddha was somewhere, and Confucius was somewhere, and then Egyptians and Persians were doing it. After that, the moment we figured out what logic is, we put it to a bad test case. Religion took over, and this modern life which we enjoy, I give credit to a guy. I think he was the biggest genius, Newton. I'm not denying other geniuses. There have been so many geniuses, but one person who really turned the tide towards our modern life today, which we enjoy, that was Newton. Right now is the time, similar kind of time, where we need those kind of big, bold ideas and going against all the opposition. That is what Elon Musk is doing. So I will be highlighting those things. But if you have any question, keep them. We will have a healthy debate as well. Okay, so there are some key concepts in this, and I have a lot of data involved, and you will get the report. So this may not be very easy for you to swallow. I completely understand. I will read this out at a high level to summarize it, but it is not very difficult to really understand if you go deeper inside. Now, data is purely from US, because wrapping my head around the whole world data or to India or China was not easy. Okay, so I have this US data very, very handy, so I'm laying that out. Okay, so if you look at it from top, the row on top, this is the energy consumption we have. Okay, and I've broken down all of those things from how energy is generated all the way down to how energy is consumed. Okay, so on top, if you look at it, we are talking about the sources of energy. Okay, petroleum is 35%. We still burn petroleum. Okay, we have natural gas, which has started depleting the share of petroleum. But and then we have coal, and coal is depleting really, really fast. So in United States, if you look at it, these three blocks are almost 80%. Okay, if you ignore rounding errors. These 80% of whatever you do with it, there's nothing clean about it. Okay, whoever talks about clean coal and sequestration of carbon dioxide, that is all BS. Okay, this is taking a very high density carbon fuel, which was storing the carbon and greenhouse gases. You bring it out, you blow it in the air. If anybody argues that no, there is a clean stuff, it is all BS. Okay, so 80% of what energy US is consuming, I think the number may not dramatically change unless you are in France or some Scandinavian country. This majority of energy consumed in any country is burning carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. Okay, and the share of renewable, which is on the right hand side, which includes renewable, all wind, solar, and hydro, plus nuclear. That is around 20%, which is increasing. So there's an optimism; it is increasing, but it has to increase faster. Now, on the second lane, I'm talking about when you have this energy sectors for energy, there are two kinds of consumption. One goes directly to whoever wants to use it. Okay, there are cars, there are factories, but then the same energy sources feeds into generating electricity also. Okay, so electricity has some good news because a lot of stuff is happening through renewable as well. Okay, but the big problem is that energy used, basically coal or natural gas, when it is used in power plants, big power plants, and when it is transmitted through our mega grid system, there is a huge wastage. Okay, you will be shocked to learn only 1/3 of energy gets to the other end. Okay, less than 1/3, and majority of those plants, because they are burning fossil fuel, you are burning the atmosphere as well. The bottommost part is where I am zooming into the problem which I want to address. Okay, I'm addressing the entire energy as well from the microgrid and power plant perspective, but I want to come down to transportation. Transportation is extremely high consumer of fossil fuel. Okay, almost 95% of consumption in our transport, which includes our planes and big trucks and semis, or the consumer vehicles. Okay, 95% of that is all these fossil fuel. Okay, only 5%. And out of that 5%, only 1% is electricity. Okay, so you're talking about electric car or hybrids, which can be fed with electricity. That is less than 1%. And 4%, I think it's a biofuel. Okay. So keep this in mind. This is a major concept, and we will be wrapping our head somewhere along this presentation. Okay, so I want to really, from the previous slide, I want to go to analyze the problem. Okay, so the problem number one is that our carbon-based fuel, fossil fuels in our energy mix is really, really high, and it has to come down really, really fast. Things are happening. Even with so much adversity in last government, which we saw towards renewable and in favor of coal and burning fossil fuel, still the renewable is increasing by its sheer merit. Okay, without any government support, it has increased, but it has to increase fast now. The problem number two is that approximately 32% of electricity is generated. So I mentioned that. Okay, when you generate electricity through the power grid system, which is century-old architecture, when you use those kind of power plants, mega power plants, you are wasting a lot of energy. And if you're burning coal or natural gas, you are burning the atmosphere. You're throwing more gases into atmosphere. And the last problem is that transportation uses less than 1% of electricity. So now if you think about which direction should we be heading, if these are agreeable based on the data which I showed you about the entire US, I think we have to get renewable sources, adoption of them somehow. Okay, and government has a role in that because government and local municipalities have been strategically discouraging it. A lot of things, if you read in Texas and Florida, there has been local government which banned the use of solar roof because it looks ugly, as if that is the biggest problem. Then if you are looking at our energy grid system, a lot of wastage happens. Electricity will be consumed more and more. Demand is increasing of electricity, and the other fuel is going down. Our mega grid, which is again monopoly between three big giants, that has to be broken down. That has to become decentralized. It won't be able to take the load. So that is another area which we will learn more. Then again, promoting electric vehicles. Okay. Probably some of the points I addressed, but it may not be conclusive enough. So keep your questions. If I have not covered why electric vehicles should be promoted, we will get back to that. Okay, so this may answer if you had any question about electric vehicle, why should that be promoted? Okay, so now take this again, US data, assume this, and sources are EPA and Edmund, which are quite authoritative sources. Okay, I mean, a few percentage here and there may vary, but this is for us to understand the concept. And concept is this. The average ICE mileage, ICE is internal combustion engine, across, okay, there are big cars, there are small cars, there are tiny cars, there are scooties. Average mile per gallon for ICE vehicle is 25.7. Okay. Average for EV, and EV is a very, very recent and new category. It is evolving. Average is 100 mile per gallon, and do your maths. Okay, this looks like 4 times more efficient. Mile per gallon equivalent is a way to convert. I mean, think about it this way. If you had a gallon of gas, if you burn it in a controlled environment and somehow successfully transfer into battery, that battery will take you to 200 miles per gallon. Okay, so in a very rough conceptual manner, that is how you can understand. There are bad cars, bad EVs. Okay, Taycan, Porsche Taycan is the worst kind of car. You should never even look at that. I mean, it's a cool design, but it is not efficient. That goes to 68 miles. The best car is Model 3, Tesla Model 3, which goes to 142. So again, there is a huge variation on EV. But if you look at where ICE engines are, what they are doing, okay, they are wasting a lot. If all ICE cars can be converted to EVs, that will be good for environment. If you travel the same miles, right? So again, I have this calculation at the bottom. There are 230 million or so cars or drivers on the road, okay? And 13.5 is the average number that average cars drive every year. If you calculate that, 3.1 trillion miles. Now, take all those cars and convert. I mean, this is completely conceptual. No, not every, sorry. Not every car will be converted to EV. Okay, rocket jets and planes may never be able to carry such a load without having the fossil fuel. But if you can conceptually understand, okay, if so many miles are being traveled, if we can cut down those with ICE and replace them with with EV, our environment will be much, much better off. Okay, so you have references. We will go to that later on. Now, not EVs are, there are various categories of EVs. On the far left side, there is a EV. I mean, when we say from the purest perspective, we have, this is the EV, okay? Tesla is all battery operated electric vehicle. Okay, so what happens in that? You have the battery and you have electric motor. On the middle, a beautiful car, but very, very dirty architecture. This is BMW i8. From product design perspective, it is marvelous car. If you go inside that, it is phenomenal from design perspective. But the engineering involves battery as well as so battery and electric motor as well as gas tank and engine, and they mucked it up. That's why they have discontinued this car. This car, I mean, again, it was very costly car. It was not for everyone. But this kind of thing works on McLaren and Ferrari. But that kind of thing does not work very well for a consumer. But we still have a lot of plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. On the last end, you can see this is Prius and Camry. Toyota invented that, which has battery, but gas tank and engine. So this does not have motor. So what happens is regenerative braking. When you are down the hill or when you are applying the brake, there is a kinetic energy which can be taken back to the battery, and that battery will add some improvement to your mileage. Okay. Now I want to bring some luxury car just to compare, just to drive this point again. Okay, on the left hand side you have BMW X5, you have Land Rover, you have Mercedes GL 450. These are all luxury cars, very much compared to what I drive. Okay, this is Model X. When you look at their mileage, okay, in city or long drive, they are in 20s. I mean, very close to 20. But the car which comparable car in luxury, and by all means, and I think this is far superior than these luxury because it is full with electronics and gadgetry. This one goes 5 times. Okay, so again, I'm reinforcing, if we let EV engineering to happen, and if we add a little bit of motivation for people to buy EV, or organization or companies to really produce more EVs, we will be better off. Okay, there are some, so when I'm saying it, a lot of people already knew, I'm sure many of you knew that EVs are more efficient, they damage the environment less. Even if they are fed with the electricity generated by coal, they will be wasting less of the energy. So why electric are never picked up? Okay, we are talking about 150 years of, or 200 years of history when first automobile was developed. By the way, a few may know, electric car was the first car. Okay, it was some 18th century, whoever developed it, I'm missing the name. But then it got killed. Okay, very systematically. Government was involved, big businesses were involved, like mafia, they killed the prospect of that. And I have a lot of good links here. So definitely you can watch it. There are a few things which will educate you about how motor and engine are different things and all of those things. But also there is a very good documentary called Who Killed the EVs? I think it is on Netflix, so definitely you can watch that. Okay, this is about the other section where I was talking about electricity. Okay, electricity sector. Okay, so I'm again giving you a tall view, very looking at from a very higher view. And I will bring one myth. Most of the people think that EVs are as bad as anything. And mostly those people who have preconceived notion to defeat EV agenda, they say that EVs are equally bad, if not more, because their manufacturing process is wrong, lithium mining and whatnot. And they are also consuming the same energy. It comes from coal and whatnot. There is a lot of garbage involved in that kind of thinking. Okay, and so I am presenting this here. Okay, so I live in Virginia, very close to DC, but the state is Virginia. If I cross the border, if I go eastward, I hit the boundary of West Virginia. Okay, so in Virginia, we have some renewable sources, more renewable sources than West Virginia. West Virginia is the underbelly of mining and coal, and that's a Bible Belt. There, if you are charging your car, you are predominantly getting a dirty energy. While when you are in Virginia, you are not that dirty. It is still dirty. It is majority dirty, but it is not that dirty. Now, there is an app here. Okay, you can go, you can plug in your car, which place you are, and compare with any other car about your efficiency. This Climo bill is the one. And they have a lot of data across the world. If for example, you are charging your car in Iceland, that will be the best place, because everything Iceland generates, especially for electricity, it is all renewable, geothermal or wind and solar. So if I cross from Virginia to West Virginia, I'm having 2.5x more emissions, right? CO2 emissions. So this is an illustration to say that things are changing. There will be some part of the world which will change much later. West Virginia being one. Texas is another one. Florida is another one. New York is a very good state where a lot of renewable activities are happening. Again, power grid. I wanted to ask about this as a quiz, but I think I blew this. My question was that, guys, do you know how much, when electricity is generated in the plant, how much it reaches? But I'm sure you guys were paying attention when I was talking about, so I will let that pop quiz go away. I will bring it back. So this is all about power grid. There is a lot to talk about power grid. Power grids, the way they are set up, are really jaded, very old, and the way they were established was not looking at climate change, or not even consumers. Okay, the whole structure, the power game, which power grid enacted was mostly monopolistic, big businesses. The way they burn fossil fuel or anything, and when they transmit, okay, that is not very efficient, only less than 1/3. And the percentage here, I have a reference also, is 31.53%. So rest everything you have burned. And if you're burning coal, means that much percentage, to almost 70% of that coal is going for dead weight loss and generating whatever greenhouse gases you're generating, right? I have a lot of these things here. Probably it will explain you the vision of new power grid, but there are few things. People want to break down the mega grid into small decentralized grid. And I will talk about Tesla, how Tesla has been instrumental in actually breaking down those monopolies and creating something. Also think about power grid. One problem with power grid is that, think about internet. Think about how telegram used to be sent. If you're sending a telegram to somebody, okay, you cannot expect a reply, right? Power grid is the same way. You can feed the power from one side and somebody can receive it, but will not happen from the other end. Now, if you're talking about promoting renewable, when people can have a solar roof and they can have their car as a battery power, you may want to really engage that bi-directional stuff. So telegraph versus internet, that is the difference we are talking about. This energy grid system is very much like a telegraph system of 18th century. You can send everything in one way. If somebody forecasted that we have lesser demand, then there will be a blackout. If somebody said that we have suddenly surge in demand, there may be blackout because these grid systems fail, and they fail miserably. There's a lot to talk about power grid system, and probably we will discuss that during our Q&A. Now, understand this. This is a conceptual graphic to drive home. Okay, when we look at everything, okay, as an ecosystem, it becomes very, very hard for us to differentiate what is good versus bad. And that is my point here. Okay, there are certain things which are good. Electric car, even when it is fed with a dirty energy coming off your grid system, EV promotion is good. And hopefully I have established that point earlier. It may not make sense because there was so much data, then we can definitely demystify it later on. Okay. If you are putting a solar roof on your home, depending on your geography and location, okay, those are not bad ideas. Those are good ideas. Okay. The grid system, so the bottom where I have this red cloud, this whole thing is bad. And not everything can go away, but as much as we can reduce our dependence on those red circle will be better for our environment. So starting from oil refinery, going to mega plant, power plant, our distribution happens through mega grid system, or gas tanker moving around the globe. All of this is bad, net bad, and you cannot improve that. You can improve its efficiency, but it is going to remain bad. On top, you have renewable sources. Okay, renewable sources are gaining very, very fast. They are supplying whatever they are supplying through grid system because there is no alternative. But the vision of the future is that the grid system. So grid system today it is not that California burns energy and sends it to East Coast. Okay, so they are quite decentralized where they burn fuels and where they supply. But what happens is you have a peaker plants in between. Okay, and there are 70,000 or so. Okay, peaker plants are like your gas burner in your kitchen. When you want to cook your food, you switch it on. I mean, it doesn't happen that quickly, but peaker plant starts, they burn whatever in order to really fulfill the surge. Okay, and electricity goes one way. Those peaker plants are the easiest means to be replaced by battery systems. Okay, so think about if you have renewable, if they are connected with battery storage solution, mega packs, that is where your energy excess supply will be stored, and when there is a surge in demand, it will replenish that, and it can smooth the curve, but that is an intermittent step. Again, if you have any question, we will tackle it at the end. I want to come down to another point before I open for question. So this is again the whole supply chain. Okay, mining, generation of energy, distribution of energy, utilization of energy as a transport, and end of life. When we talk about EV and its a traditional alternative ICE cars, we lump them saying that, okay, they are bad. No, break it down into how this happens. Okay, there is a major a debate which is going on about lithium. Okay, jury is still out there, guys. This is just 10 years old industry. Lithium is happening at the manufacturing scale since last 10 years, and most of the places where lithium mining happens, these are deserted places. Okay, habitation is completely nil. There are some articles here, but do your own research. There are mining happenings in Argentina, Chile, Australia, China. These are not places for human to habitate. That is not to say that lithium mining is not doing damage. They are actually polluting your water beds. But we have forgotten how oil is extracted. Wherever oil has been extracted, those places are gone. Okay, we have lost our natural habitat, and that is one reason there are some good people who detest this idea that we can open all over Alaska for our mining. Alaska has a very big reserve of fossil fuel, by the way. So this comparison, I will say that today lithium mining is not good. It is harming, but lithium mining and most of the development on lithium will improve, but oil and coal won't. Okay, likewise, if you are looking at generation of energy, distribution and transportation, you can understand end of life. I can tell you one benefit of EV is that EV has much longer life. There are no moving part. I have never gone for oil change ever. I have gone to get service for changing wipers and tires only in last 5 years of owning my car. While I have other 2 cars, okay, every 3 months I have to take those cars for servicing. So end of life when you have a motor and battery pack will happen much later. Okay, so reusability is a lot. But for your ICE engine car, okay, you will have to replace that, and their end of life is less. So when end of life should be considered that you have to dispose of, and that has some consequence to atmosphere as well. This is about Tesla. I will go very quickly. Okay, very few people know that Tesla has a huge play in energy. They are not generating so much revenue today, but they have a very, very important place. So starting from top left, commercial and microgrid solutions. Okay, again, this is very lengthy topic. So I have references here. I will share the report later on, and you can do your research. But think about it. They can generate wind and solar farms. They can create their own local storage system, and they can supply the whole city. And they have done it. Here in the United States, the best case study is Victoria State in Australia, where they have these plants, and this is functioning. On the bottom, you may not know one thing about Tesla. Tesla is trying to get into utility business. Okay, how do you manage this arbitrage? Consumer needs it, but consumer also want to sell it. The existing utility firms, again, they work like mafia. Their interest is to really blackmail consumers and government on both sides and not improve the grid system. But Tesla is doing that, and they are very well positioned for that. Existing solution for residential stuff. There is so much demand about Tesla Solar is that they are booked, and that is what Elon Musk said in Q2 investor call, that they are overbooked. They cannot take any more orders for their storage and solar roof system till 2024, I guess. There is another thing which is purely conceptual, and they are not doing it. They will do it. Think about your car. You can be completely off grid. You can drive your car somewhere in the jungle where you have a cabin, and you can live for weeks, okay, with the power which is in your car. So your car is no more just a mode of transportation. It is your microgrid in a way. So that is at the vision level. Tesla is an energy powerhouse that is more popular today with making cool cars and disruptive technology products. Very few people know that this company is going to really disrupt energy in a very big way. And the whole energy sector, which is going to be disrupted, is $110 trillion worth. They are not going to go and kill all oil refinery or all grid, but that is the magnitude of impact we are talking about, and they have all very good ideas. So I have some product up there which gets less attention, but because I have already spent 40 minutes, what I can do is I can open discussion and debate and question. What do you say, Nimish?
Yeah, sounds good. Guys, questions? So I think while we are warming up to other people's questions, I had one.
Mm-hmm.
So battery disposal, it said is always a problem. So what does your research say, Pradyot, on that?
Again, battery disposal has not started at the industrial scale. Okay, this is not a problem yet. Okay, if you're talking about, if I have one battery, where will I throw? Okay, that's a valid question. But at the industrial scale, which we are talking about, means there are now few millions car on the road. Their battery has not come to become a problem which needs to be disposed. On top of that, there are startups and companies which have started, and EPA is looking at bringing regulation where they are saying that they will recycle batteries. Okay, you have to understand one thing. When we are talking about batteries, these are not normal cell which goes in our anything. These are big packs. Okay, the whole chassis which you have inside your normal car, that is the area which is called powertrain. That is where you have whole bed of batteries. When they say that your battery has come to end of life, you know what that means? How much percentage degradation has happened? Anybody? Okay, to simplify, I will say, when your battery, let's say it was 75 kilowatt hours, when it gets to 80% of that, which is 60 kilowatt hours, 80% of that remains useful, means 20% degradation has happened. They call it your battery is done. And if it is within the warranty period, they will replace it. Means Tesla or any car company will replace it. But it never happens. Okay, within 8 years, it never degrades that much. And they are coming up with better options. On top of that, I think what companies are doing is they will take this 80%. They will replenish that 20% somehow, and bring it back. There are other methods, how to dispose chemical and how to utilize it. Again, research is on. This is a very new area.
Hey, Pradyot.
Hey, Gokul.
Hi, yeah. Specific to the EVs, I heard you mention that the present market share of EVs in transportation is 1%. I'm just trying to reconfirm that.
Oh no, I think EV penetration world over is close to 2%. What I was talking about, US data, when you have electricity to power your transportation sector, 1% of transportation sector is getting transported or move around the road with electricity. Less than 1% of transportation gets electricity as input, as energy input. That was my point.
So you're not talking about trains and stuff, which
Transportation is everything. Transportation is
everything.
everything. I don't think there are rockets involved in that, but definitely plane, trains, anything.
Okay. So, and this is US specific data.
This is very US specific data, and I will tell you the biggest from the fleet perspective, right? So people talk about, when they talk about planes, when they talk about semis, trucks, when they talk about train, they are within transportation. The category is called fleet. Biggest fleet segment is your semis, trucks. Okay, energy consumption for trucks is very, very minimal. It may be in single digit.
Okay.
In America, at least, consumers are the biggest culprit. Okay, in the household of 2 people, there are 3 cars. So,
So what you're talking about is, in spite of the days since Tesla existed, and in spite of the numbers they are making, the penetration of personally owned electric cars is much low.
much low, and this is not about the demand, by the way. Okay, so I will clarify, because you may have this because media circulate this thing that so penetration is low because it requires raw material. Okay, and those are in short supply, and industry wide we have not been able to build the battery quicker. Okay, this is the most difficult and the costliest part of building EVs. Okay, replenishing them, really getting this thing out in the hands of automakers is very, very difficult.
So this is in spite of, sorry to bother you, this is in spite of Tesla having its own gigafactory for the batteries.
Oh yeah. So gigafactory has a limited capacity what it can produce. Whatever cars it can produce, there is over demand. If you go and book your car, you will take at least 6 weeks to get your car. So Tesla has sold not even 2 million cars so far. Last year, sometime they crossed 1 million mark. They may be 1.5 million. I have not checked the number recently, but they are not yet at 2 million mark. But then Tesla is not the only company which is creating EVs. I think Hyundai is doing very well. Nissan is doing very well. GM and Ford are the laggards. They want to drag their feet. Volkswagen has come up with many cars. Everyone is doing it.
But yeah, I had this what I call belief that a lot of last mile delivery services of many of these guys like UPS and FedEx and things like that, they have their own customized versions of pedelectric and what you call rechargeable small vehicles. Possibly, I thought that
not yet. Nobody is using it. At least in the United States, nobody is using electric car for fleet. Okay. Nobody.
Okay.
There are plans. There are a lot of companies, a lot of startups who are promising that they will replace. Rivian is has a huge investment from Jeff Bezos, and Jeff Bezos' whole agenda is just that my vans, all those last mile delivery can be replaced with Rivian, but nobody has any production out yet. Okay, nobody is really creating cars at that scale which Tesla is creating.
Okay, just to give you a kind of a comparison. Though the US is not a two-wheeler market, what is happening in China is that there's hardly 1% of ICE powered two-wheelers today, in the last 1 decade of electrification of two-wheelers, the consumers have kind of really grabbed the opportunity to get the conveniences of having electric powered two-wheelers. So if you look at two-wheelers as a segment, it is almost a 99% penetration in China, and I believe the next world's biggest two-wheeler market, India, is also hardly reaching 1% penetration now. And we are also going to go the whole way. We will find the next 3 years or so to come 100% takeover of the two-wheeler industry.
Yeah, the potential of EVs into all segments, whether it is. I mean, look, there are in every town and cities, small or big in United States, you have these bird and all those. So these
Right.
are. You may know what I'm talking about, right? So this has become a very, very big deal. Earlier, they used to have a fleet of cycles. Now people take that, and that was a segment really innovated by Segway, if you know Segway scooters.
Right.
Battery technology is very. So technology is proven. Okay, technology is proven. The infusion of that technology in the business context for everyone to adopt, okay, it's not happening. Okay, and then the other thing is that there are other established businesses. Okay, they are playing game, and I can give you several examples. One which I talked about in my opener was that I'm really bugged and bothered about the debate which is happening in Congress, in our Senate, for energy infrastructure. Okay, they want to pump in money to really modernize, and after the negotiation, this was $3.5 trillion of budget. They cut down to 1 trillion, and they were celebrating that we have bipartisan support. You know what was left in that? Road, improving the road and improving the bridges. Okay, or building more roads. Now think about it. If you are talking about infrastructure for 21st century, you are broadening three lane road to 6-lane road, and I'm not joking. Right where I live, okay, 60 Washington DC, by the way, if you didn't know, it's one of the worst congested city, and traffic is really bad. They are turning that road from 3 lanes to 6 lane. Now, is that progress? That is not progress. That is taking us back somewhere, right? And there are studies that if you add more lane, it does not solve your traffic problem. These politicians who are negotiating the bill to spend money to rejuvenate their infrastructure or to economy, they are just feeding into that. Okay.
Is there any attempt to bring in bicycling lanes and stuff?
We have in the cities. And we have very good system for cycling, and I am a avid cyclist. Now I don't do so much, but I used to do a lot. I have done almost cross country, all the way north to middle of the country with cycling. They have very good infrastructure for cycling, but nowhere compared to Scandinavians. Okay, they beat everyone. Okay, so the culture of cycling is mostly for exercising, and entertainment is not so much of commute. Right? Not about transportation.
Okay, just to understand, I'm surprised that in spite of Tesla being there for so long, what is that thing which drove you to become a Tesla owner since the past 5 years? And what is it that the rest of the people in your country are hesitating?
Lot of stuff, but I will tell you, I think when you grow old, probably you become slightly sensible. I have become paranoid. Okay, I'm comfortable now. I don't get paranoid about my career or my daughter having a good education or not. All those things are set up. But when you have all of those things, you start thinking about other stuff. I have been vocal. I really argue with people. I try to convince people otherwise before I let go. And I have realized that there is a misinformation, and I'm well read. Okay, when I say there is a misinformation, when I say that businesses and politicians are playing game and they are keeping the status quo, I can prove that point by facts. Okay, that is one thing which makes me more paranoid. And climate change is real, guys. I mean, I don't debate with deniers. Okay, I say that, okay, good. Okay, let me move on. Let me find somebody whom I can convince. But on top of that, if you are a designer, if you are somebody who loves good product, EVs in any category, hands down, they are better product than their own competitors. Okay, any ICE car. If you are driving EV, I'm telling you, pick up, acceleration, okay, comfort, and so much gadgetry there is. Okay, I can watch my car from my cell phone. I can start. I can call my car. Do all of those things. This is a phenomenal product. Phenomenal product. This is like iPhone. Okay, you're sitting on an iPhone. So great product, good for climate. Okay, and then there is a headwind. I want to really educate people so that people understand that don't suck up to typical media and so-called pundits or the established traditional brands.
Pradyot, I'm asking this specifically because out here, for anybody in India to want to move on to the EV alternative for an ICE four-wheeler, the biggest problem is range anxiety, because we really don't have a setup where we can go and charge ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's not the case with your part of the world.
No.
In spite of that, how is it that it's still that 1% penetration is what I'm wondering.
Yeah, so infrastructure has been laid out by two major forces. Okay, Tesla, because they burnt a lot of money. Initially, Tesla was not profitable. They never cared about. They built a lot of charging network. I will give you an example. Just yesterday, I was in my car. I traveled 500 plus miles. I went to drop my daughter to Pittsburgh, and came back same day. I never felt any range anxiety because I know there are several. Every 40 miles, every 50 miles, you have stalls, okay, charging station. And they are all empty most of the time because Elon Musk has created this, he has overdone it. Then on top of that, before you reach there, your car will tell you if that is populated, if it's consumed, it will tell you that, okay, go ahead, you have few more, go to the next stop. So way before they are managing the demand, okay, before you reach there, it's for charging, they know. So they are doing routing.
I understand that. I'm just saying, in spite of all that, all this notwithstanding, why is there's so much hesitancy to move on to the EV?
Oh, so there are two reasons. One is education. Many people don't know that, and Tesla or any other EV company cannot produce cars enough. Okay, the supply chain and the raw material which we are talking about, which goes inside EV, they are not the cheapest. They are not easy to procure. It takes time. So Tesla this year, by end of quarter Q4, will hit the million mark. Okay. But it is very difficult to procure and build. This is a very different kind of car. I know.
So what you're telling is the demand for EVs is much higher than what each of those producers can provide.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And also to see Tesla or other players. Okay, the lithium battery, but lithium is not the only thing for battery. That demand of batteries is not just in EVs. Okay, there are other sectors. I talked about mega pack for residential as well, for microgrids. There is so much demand of battery that cars cannot be produced enough. He has a cyber truck, he has a semi plan, he cannot bring them because they will hog all the batteries he has. So it's all about capacity. They have less capacity than the demand out there.
Okay, got it.
Gokul, we might want to give others a chance. Maybe
of course. Got it. Thank you so much.
Chandu, you're on mute.
Hi, Pradyot. How are you doing?
Very good.
I just joined because I wanted to see you. So.
Oh my goodness! Thank you. Makes my day.
I didn't attend your thing. I joined very late. I just thought I'll hear you out. But interesting comments.
Very cool.
I'm very happy to see you, Pradyot.
Very cool. Thank you.
So, Dhanush, you have a question.
Yeah, so I was just saying that buying into the EV ecosystem also means a lifestyle change around charging, because I think most people have this, apart from range anxiety, it's also the amount of time it takes to charge. So if you're stuck somewhere, if you've got to charge your vehicle, it still takes significantly longer time than an ICE vehicle. So is that something that causes a barrier to adoption
Oh yeah, yeah. And earlier when Gokul was asking, I gave one reason of consumer education. This is a ripe example of consumer education. I will tell you, if you have not tried, if you have not seen the benefit and beauty of that car, you may only hear that range anxiety. How will we charge? It doesn't happen to me. It doesn't happen to me. And most of the Tesla owners or other EV owners will tell you that they really adopt their lifestyle around it. Their work goes on, their family or whatever they are doing with their car that goes on. It's a different kind of thing, but it's not a very big deal. Not a very big deal. So there are some reasons where people hesitate. Those are real good reasons. For example, if you're living in an apartment, if you don't have your garage, if you don't have your plug point, right? You will only be dependent on supercharger. So now you get up, you dress up. Half an hour ago, you have to go and put your car for the charging and then go. So there are some good reasons, but also this is new. What is happening? What is going to happen in future? And future, when I say it is not 50 years, I'm talking about 3 to 5 years. The car battery technology is changing very, very fast. The charging network is becoming more and more possible everywhere, at every corner, and this will happen. You will go take your car, plug in 5 minutes, and you will have 80% of the charge. So that technology is already there. It is not very widespread because scaling that takes time, but that is happening. So I don't know if I gave you the answer, what you were asking.
I mean, so I would like to know what is the lifestyle change that you've had since giving up on your ICE vehicle.
Right.
You still have ICE vehicle. Right?
Yeah. I will give you very, very personal example of my household. Okay, my daughter and wife, they drive ICE cars, and they refuse to come on long trip with me with Tesla. Reason is, so for example, if I go to Pittsburgh, which is around 240 miles, it takes less than 4 hours if you just drive BMW. When I go, it takes 5.5 hours to 6 hours. Okay, and my car is old, by the way. It is iPhone 6. Okay, it is not iPhone 12 anymore. So it takes 2 hours, 1.5 hours extra in order to charge and reach there, and that is agonizing to them. My lifestyle changes, and maybe it is how I work or how I worked always. I have my laptop. I open my laptop and I start working. Or when I'm driving, I'm taking my call. So it has not impacted me. But for my wife and daughter, for them to replace their car, that will be the psychological barrier.
Okay. Well, interesting to know. But I mean, it's a conscious decision because it's something that you believe in, and you can't go back to an ICE.
Yeah, but generally everyone in United States, in the city conditions, and people, those who live in outskirts, I live in outskirts of a town. Let's say I have to go all 4 days or 5 days inside the city. Maximum travel is 50 miles both ways. Okay. Every EVs, even the worst EVs, which are not very efficient or doesn't have that range, they are above. They are close to 150 plus. You go there, you come back, you park it in your garage and plug it in. By the time you get up in the morning, your car is ready to go. So what I'm saying is, for many people who have not been inside the car, who have not really tried deciding about EVs, it's an education. It's a matter of education. It's not a big deal from changing your lifestyle.
So you've got to remember to plug it in every time you come in.
Oh, car will remind you. Car will. I mean, look, you're talking about a gadget. It will figure it out. And Tesla does it. It says that, okay, I see your calendar, and tomorrow you have to travel this much, and your car is not plugged in. But it becomes habit. How many times have you picked up your iPhone in the morning and realized, holy shit, I have no battery charge left? Never happens. Okay. It becomes your reflect action. That is the mental model they get into. Okay, you will remember, you will know. It will never happen, but it happens. I mean, you can wake up and you go in your ICE car and it is empty. Okay, there's no gas, or it has a tire problem, some problem. So I mean, those are rare things.
So is this because this is your third car? If this was your only car, then would that change things?
I mean, this is my only EV car. Yes.
Yeah. So you have a backup of a ICE car as well, right?
Yeah.
In case it's not charged.
Yeah, but I rarely use ice car. Those are for my daughter and wife. They
Okay.
they have to commute, so they use it. I mean, I would love them to adopt this because from other point of view, what we were talking about, efficiency and coolness, Tesla especially is highly rated on safety. Okay, if God forbid something happens, you are better off being in Tesla because of their safety record.
Oh, just for you to know, we there are two Teslas getting tested, and we spotted them today. Two of them right in front of our office in Pune,
Wow.
and yeah, so they have been testing a few cars in Bangalore, but
Yeah.
so a few guys have spotted this in Chakan, and it's with the Maharashtra testing number plates. So I don't know what's happening, but it's interesting to see absolutely brand new, stickered up and bumpered up, like getting tested rigorously. Like really, it's a different experience, I would say.
Very
So
different experience. Very
yeah,
different. Very different. I mean, I would tell you, sitting in the car for 10 hours is not fun. Okay, but when you don't have to pay attention on driving, so this is not just cruise control. Okay, car applies its brakes, it turns, it changes the lane, it sees an object, and there is a lot of stuff going on that it has a ghost braking and all that, and government is investigating. But besides that, I'm telling you, 10 hours sitting in the car, I'm fresh after that, and I get my work done. Okay, checking email and sending messages, or getting on the call, or when I'm charging, I open my laptop. My work never gets interrupted. And you're talking about 10 hours of being on the road. Okay, very different style. And I can tell you, 5 years down the line, you shouldn't be surprised that you are sitting in your car and car is taking you to Pittsburgh and you are working. Working means you have laptop on and you're doing something. Okay, this self-driving is a phenomenal thing. Okay, it is under testing and it takes time because this is a high risk area, but will happen.
yeah. 9 out of my 10 friends in the US actually are completely on Tesla, so I can vouch by, and they're not designers, so I can vouch by their experiences also exactly what you're talking about. It's a different experience altogether where they are working while they're driving. So it's
Yeah,
just it's just that yes, the concerns what you are voicing in terms of ability to produce batteries enough for
yeah,
Mr. Allen's dream to come true. But yeah, I mean it's not far away. I think so. It's a very good move. I would say. It's just that sometimes I feel green is always on your mind. It's there's so many things which are non-green in the car itself. So battery is one part which is saving a lot of things, but yeah,
yeah.
if you don't think it optimistically, I don't think so we will look at any things which are in a positive way anyways. So
Yeah, I
it,
think not everything. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? I mean, that is a good metaphor to say that if you want to transform your whole transportation, okay. I mean, when one thing at a time, you have to really penetrate a good share of EVs. You have to really transform your infrastructure, grid system, and all that. This is huge. In any country's infrastructure, your energy, your road, your vehicle, these are the biggest investment. So somewhere you have to start, right? I mean, not everything can be changed. A battery is changing very, very fast, and I know experts who have invented patents for their new battery, who have helped Tesla acquire Maxwell and all that. I have visited their labs. I have talked to them. So I know this work is going on right now. Where we are at the battery level or the EV maturity level, consider this iPhone 4. Okay, nowhere close to where iPhone is today. Okay, so and it will go very, very fast from here.
but your description about 3 lane roads to becoming 6 lane is a big eye opener for me, at least here.
I'm
Saying that
talking about if I walk, that is the highway. Okay, that is the highway I take to go anywhere. Okay. I don't think people are stupid and they don't know that this is killing environment, but they don't care. These are the people who are just looking at profit over anybody's dead body. I mean, state has a stipulation that if you kill trees, you have to plant somewhere else. Okay, and we have a lot of greeneries in Virginia, but there used to be beautiful greenery. Now all that is gone, and they have encroached some land where you have now next dwelling. So now they have put a big barrier of concrete. I mean, this is how sometime in the name of civilization and progress, we are killing our future prospects. So Gokul was asking why are you passionate? I realize that, I mean, come on, we will be gone. We all will be gone. This earth shouldn't become inhabitable by our deed. In one generation, degradation has happened really, really fast. I'm 50 years old now, okay? And 50 years, I'm telling you, 50 years has been really bad.
So yeah, one question from Murlidhar Reddy. Murlidhar, you want to give your question, comment, and maybe we can close after that.
Hi, Pradyot. It was very informative and interesting topic, and you've spoken with so much confidence and authority. I just want to know, after you shifted over to the EV, did it bring any changes in your personal, as a lifestyle itself? Did it make you change, for example, the way you your food habits, or did you start looking at everything else?
Everything else, I have become slightly more conscious about. I used to love going out, drinking and eating all garbage food. I don't have any chronic problem or a health problem, but yeah, that awakening has happened. Again, I think 50 years, you are on the other side of the mountain. That brings some of those consciousness. So I'm very much about what I'm eating. For example, I love meat, but now I have shifted. I mean, I still go out and eat meat, but I have shifted to some of those products which are not really meatless meat, if I can call that. That revolution is happening. I have started looking at how much energy am I consuming. Okay, all those kind of things. I mean, not that I'm doing anything dramatically to shrink down my size of the house or remove anything. But I have started watching things, from the calorie I eat to the whole paraphernalia I have where energy is spent or wastage. So definitely, it has been lifestyle change, and I was very much comfortable with that. I feel good about it.
Thank you.
So Pradyot, I think we can close with this. It was, I think, very good hearing your thoughts, apart from the texted messages that we used to get. But always good to see people in
Very good,
person.
guys. Thank you very much. You know my position now. By the way, Nimish, you can share that report if you want. Guys, there are a lot of good references in that. If you want to go deeper inside, or if you have any other question, you can engage with me.
Please share.
So just one question. I mean, this is regarding that question post in the WhatsApp group. So I don't remember the question exactly. So if anyone else remembers it, if you can bring it up, because personally I want a little closure to that question.
What was that question? Even I don't remember.
That was related to if the transmission losses of electricity in the grid makes it truly sustainable or not. And I think the person there was talking about whether EVs are only solving the problem at the consumer end, but is it truly sustainable if you look at the entire ecosystem of vehicles? So it's kind of related to the questions that you were answering in your brief. But if there's a simple answer to this.
I would like to say something. Like, if you look at the fluctuations in the oil and OPEC, vis-a-vis fluctuation in a power grid thing, it's a worthwhile thing to analyze whether what really is really bothering you. Fluctuation in the OPEC, which is regulated by a certain set of countries and guidelines, versus energy, which is kind of universal that way to produce. So cost to produce electricity versus a thermal power plant or water power plant, whatever it is, like that, more or less it is standardized around the world, because that's the same operatives, as against an oil and gas thing, which is right now EV has still been able to break through that and percolate into a newer segment, where earlier it was just impossible for somebody to think about breaking into an oil and gas cartel. So I think so. It's a challenge everywhere to look at what gain. But yes, gains are never to be seen as a shortcomes, anyways. Otherwise, you are going to be at doldrums. It has to be seen in long term, as to you might be there, you might not be there. Exactly what Pradyot pointed out. But if it helps you to build something which is better, I think so it makes a lot of sense. You might get sacrificed, but it's still okay. This is my point of view. Pradyot, over to you.
Sorry. So Dhanush, can you repeat your question again?
Actually, I don't. I just wanted to say that if it would be nice if we could address the question raised in the WhatsApp group. There was a person who's not in attendance today.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, we can
yeah.
have the discussion again. But if I remember what you were saying or earlier conversation, look, EV
Right.
is not doing any damage to your grid. If grid is stable, it is not adding any extra carbon dioxide or anything. It is just a demand. If EV, that same EV was ICE, it was damaging more, right? And that was one of the core concept of this presentation. And the other thing which may happen, which may actually require grid to modernize, is that when all cars are turned into EV, the demand which has to flow through grid system, current architecture won't be able to sustain that. Okay, you will have more blackout and grid may completely melt down. So that modernization is inevitable. As we are talking about EV adoption, it is okay. Right now we have just 2%, but when 2% becomes 20%, your grid system will fail miserably. I'm not sure if I added to the real answer, but I just wanted to add these pointers that grid is a problem as big as EV adoption.
Yeah, really, basis the data that you had shared, you had shared the data was like comparison between 25 versus 100, right?
Yeah.
So miles per gallon and miles per gallon equivalent.
Yeah.
So even if you take like 30% loss in the grid, the comparison possibly would become 25 versus 70, which still seems better.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I think the other thing is that you may not change your grid if you bring all the renewables, okay, and reduce the share of fossil fuel which you are feeding into grid. That is a good solution, right, for climate crisis. And then if you can generate enough electricity to distribute to EVs and whatnot, fine. I mean, that's a status quo of grid system. It will remain just one way. You can still utilize the same old infrastructure. But sooner or later, in order to really materialize the whole vision, means your car, EV, your house, your solar, independence from energy perspective, from the vision perspective, is that individual have a control over their energy need, right? Whether you are spending a small amount of energy or large amount of energy, if you can control where you are generating, how you are using it, it is better off. And that is the reason why transformation has to happen of the grid system. By the way, India is very well placed. If you read, India is very well placed. And a reason given are that India did not have as a huge infrastructure of energy transmission and a grid system and all that compared to developed countries, right? So now it's like cell phone adoption. Okay, if you did not have a landline, right, you may adopt cell phone really fast. Energy grid transformation or new infrastructure will happen in developed country. For that reason, it will happen faster. China is leading this race. I mean, they are still burning coal a lot, but from their infrastructure perspective, they are far ahead of Americans.
So with that, Pradyot, let's say thank you to everyone who's attended. And
all right, guys, thank you very much.
You as well. Okay, thanks, guys. Look forward to you next time.
Good to see you, Nimish, after such a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. You too.
Thank you.
Bye. See ya.
Thanks, Brady. Thanks, Brady. I will connect later. Thanks. It was a nice presentation.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you, Pradyot.